Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we discuss Homebrew for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. My name is Thomas.
To do that again?
No, my name is Thomas
okay.
the Human Bard. I am joined today by
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
And I'm Bean the Rock Gnome Rogue, and welcome to Pogcast. Pogcast is that nostalgic cast about the 90s. Or is that not this one? We're not doing that today.
That's Thursdays.
Oh, sorry. Welcome to Porgcast, that wonderful podcast
That's
about
Fridays.
those beautiful...
That's Fridays.
Damn. Okay,
And that's
sorry.
only on Apple Play.
It costs $500 to listen to Porgcast.
This is a great bit you're doing, and I do love this. I do have to, real quick, how many R's are in Wizard, Mercy? Because you put in about 7.
So here's the thing. I was distracted because I gave
Wizard.
my cat a big old forehead smooch, and I was picking cat hair off my mouth.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the episode today, I want to mention up front that we take requests and submissions. If you have a homebrew you'd like us to discuss on this show, or a creator that you don't think gets enough attention, send it to us, comment it below, or send it to our email, thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com, or on social media @thecopperfoxinn. We talk about subclasses and races and magic items and all kinds of D&D related homebrew content. And if there's ones you think we'd enjoy, please send them our way. I have a sneaking suspicion, everyone in the tavern.
What? What's going on?
Mercy,
Hi.
Onog,
Yeah.
Bean.
Yeah.
I've called a meeting, an emergency meeting, because I think one of us is an imposter.
What? No, I saw Onog in the vents
Nope.
of the tavern.
No, Mercy, I saw Mercy on the right side of the bar, but then I saw her go into the back room, but then I saw her outside, and the only way she could have got there was slipping through the grate, through the vent shaft.
No, there's a door that goes at the other side.
Is
I
there?
I was shooting asteroids like
Well, then,
yeah, like normal.
Yeah, well then the question, you
Like a
shoot asteroids in the
normal
tavern a
person?
lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the question is,
Yeah, well, we
who
have that-
killed the
that-
bartender Clancy? Because he's a
I'm pretty sure
skeleton.
I'm pretty sure he's been a skeleton this whole time. Like, no,
Oh, has he been? I'm so
Yeah,
embarrassed.
he is a skeleton.
Oh my god. Oh, well then it's probably...
You saw him on the floor. He's taking a nap, so I know you walked into the room and saw him on the floor.
and I saw
with the
Mercy
bone
standing
poking
over
out.
him
Now-
before she fled into the bathroom, so I was just
Yeah.
kind
to
of
be fair, it has taken me several years to get my drink, so I'm still kind of waiting.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of service we get here. Today, listeners, travelers, we are chasing that sweet, sweet algorithm, baby. And we're going to be discussing... we are discussing a player race that was posted to r/Unearthed Arcana by user POS Tavern. Is it Pause Tavern? I don't remember how to pronounce that.
Or it's post-Avern.
It's like Post Malone.
It is Pose Tavern. And they have a Patreon. We'll link it below. Pose Tavern is the designer of this. This player race is a reference to the very currently timely and popular video game Among Us, in which many of you are crewmates on a space station of some kind, but one of you is an imposter. And if you wanted to run that for your D&D group as a one-shot, well, I have just the player race for you. Player race Imposter.
Hey.
So, the player race Imposter gets an ability score increase. Your charisma increases by 2, and your dexterity increases by 1. This is very typical for any slippery race that we discuss.
Yeah.
The charisma dexterity bonus combination thing
Classic.
really lends to being a rogue or a bard of some kind. Which, as an imposter, you're going to have to be stealthy with your kills and wily with your conversational
Wise.
skills as you convince everyone it wasn't you.
Just as a side note,
Yes.
if you are confused as to why we constantly reference things as being chonky and slippery, go back and listen to the penguin episode. It'll make sense.
Is that even the origin of it?
I think it was
Yes.
the penguin
Well,
player races, right?
Chonky originated with the Tarrasque,
One of the very, very
Were-Tarrasque.
first ones.
Yes.
but then there were slippery penguins,
We had-
and then we decided to call things chonky and
We'll have to-
slippery.
We had chubby, slippery, spicy, and
Yeah.
chubby and slippery come from the penguins.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
yes.
chubby
Spicy
penguin
was a
and
later
slippery.
edition, I
Spicy.
believe.
And then
Yeah.
chonky, yeah. We'll
Chonky
create
is
probably a side quest at
is a
some
mode
point
of
where we
chubby.
talk about our design philosophies and principles with sub races, and we'll
Chubby,
will
slippery,
officially canonize
spicy,
the category.
zesty, Cool Ranch,
Cool Ranch.
Baja Blast.
Picante. Age. Imposters mature at the same rate as humans, but they can live for up to 160 years.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why.
Why?
That's fun. I don't know.
This was a perfect opportunity to just say that the imposters mature at the same rate as crewmates.
That's crewmates. And they can live up to 42,069 years. Size. Imposters
Right.
and their fellow crew are between 3 and 4 feet tall and weigh 85 to 95 pounds. Your size is small. I like that maybe the art isn't cute. They're actually just quite small.
That's great.
Because that's a reference. Because when you go to the med bay in the game, you can get scanned and it says that you are like 4 feet tall and you weigh 95 pounds.
You're very petite.
Yes. Your speed, your base walking speed is 25 feet, consistent with most player small races other than goblins. Dark vision, because one, of course.
Why not?
But two,
But also
So
you
it
can
makes sense
you can
this
see in
time.
the
yeah,
dark.
It
but
makes
two,
sense
there
this
is a
time.
mechanic in the game that when you turn the lights off on the spaceship, you are allowed to see, whereas other people are not. Sometimes
Yeah,
that
so
comes
that-
back to bite you when you say, "Oh, I saw you across the hall," and they say, "How did you see me? The lights were off." Ooh, got him.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there's at least a mechanical reason for dark.
Yeah.
vision this
Yeah,
time.
yeah. There
As
is
opposed
a
to just cuz.
yeah, as opposed to the normal reason, which is we've really designed ourselves into a corner and every race has to have it now. Vent Walker. Crawling does not cost you extra movement.
I've heard that one of the members of the Ventwalker family will bring balance to the galaxy.
Oh my god.
Actually, Bean, that was like that was a good joke. Like, very
you.
well done. Good ref, good joke. Well
My name's
played.
Ray. Ray
Vent
Among
Walker.
Us.
Ray Among Us.
I'm
Okay.
not a Ventwalker, I'm just a
So-
crew member.
So, here's the thing. Let's talk about this. I've never seen an ability that kind of like plays with modes of travel like this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've missed one that this is the case for.
I think like the turtle.
Oh, maybe.
It has,
I don't
like,
have
one
the
that it,
famous
like-
Turtle pre-order pack or whatever, so I
I
don't
mean,
have
but
the
there's
Turtle
idea.
race.
It's almost like you have a climbing speed.
Yeah, no,
you know.
okay, but that's the thing. That's the thing I want to talk about. What if one of your speeds available was just crawl speed? Then you could have some races that have a much higher crawl speed than their walk speed.
No, that's really scary.
Yeah, like Tabaxi or something.
So they're on when they go on all fours, they can like go all out, but when they're
No,
on two
wait.
legs, they're slower.
No, we had that with the penguin race because
Well, they
they
had-
were able to like
They had
push
like a
on their
tummy slide
tummy.
ability. That
No,
was a
but-
little different.
Right.
But it's one thing when it's like, oh, because they're like a little turtle, but you start making like a spooky race, and now it like crawls,
It crawls
at you
much
super
faster.
fast, like
Yeah.
faster than something should
Well,
crawl.
I like that a lot.
Yikes.
That's what I
like that.
homebrewed that when I was making a Wendigo stat block. Is I gave them the ability to, that if they chose to go on all fours, they could then like move double their normal
Oh,
speed.
very
or
good.
So
something.
It is
what
pronounced
even, like-
Weendigo, just for
What?
Wendigos.
Oh,
no, Weendigo.
I don't think
Wendigos.
it is.
Well, I do have my Wendigo, where if people want to pay me money to go fight monsters, they can do that.
Nice.
Not as good as Ventwalker.
Nope,
okay.
not-
Anyway,
not as good.
No, that's a swing and a miss on that one, Bean. Swing and a miss.
yeah,
I'll
it's
be real
okay.
with you.
But I was gonna say, furbolgs have like, it's written into things about furbolgs that they might, not always, but they might have trouble blending in with society, and that's why they can change their height.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
what
yeah,
if-
yeah.
But what if you had a creature that, like, when you walked on all fours, it was considered scary or terrifying or odd, and in, like, normal or, like, civilized sort of areas, that would be considered too spooky to handle or too
I
weird?
sort of
Like a Japanese
I-
house ghost race.
And
kind
so that,
of,
like,
yeah. Or-
When you were with people, you might choose to walk on your hind legs, which would be slower. And then if you're like, never mind, I gotta go catch up with them. So you like get on all fours and chase them. Then everyone's
just
like,
spider
oh
crawl.
my
you
gosh!
shoot across the ground going 50 miles an
Even
hour.
just a regular human being, but crawling really fast is
Yeah,
so
I do just
scary.
like- I do now. I can picture the one place where this might work, which would be like a true mermaid player race, where you have a great swim speed, but you have like an almost no walk speed
You're
because
just
you're just
hopping.
hopping on your tail or whatever, whatever, and you have to make like a deception
You're just
check.
doing the worm on the
A
ground.
You've
mermaid
got
that
it.
travels like a seal,
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
grows legs.
But when you have to like pass off as a regular human, you just put a trench coat on and you just kind of shuffle around really awkwardly on your tail. All right, this is a great conversation, but let's shelve it till we find out who the imposter is and vote on that, and then we can talk about. All right.
Yeah, okay.
It
I already
wasn't
voted
me.
for Bean.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it wasn't me. That's also an ability. It wasn't me.
Hmm.
You have advantage on charisma deception checks to blame another creature for your actions.
Nice.
Love that.
This is a great point for me to get on my personal soapbox and say, I love when you get bonuses to your skills that are context dependent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like keen senses. I love keen senses when it says you get advantage on perception checks that rely on smell or taste, but then they exclude like sight, because it makes it so much more interesting of how you want to try and like flavor your check.
It encourages a play style.
So this person isn't good at just deceiving everything, but they're especially good at deceiving when they're trying to blame someone else for their actions. So now they try to find a play style where they can do that as often as possible. Instead of lying to the guard that you're supposed to be allowed in, you start blaming other people that they're actually the ones trying to break in.
You break into a place
Actually,
but
you're
you're like,
not
guards,
supposed
they're
to be
trying to
here."
break in. And
But
then
you're
you just
pointing at
walk
the
right
guards.
past.
Yeah. That guard was the one trying to break in, not me. And they're like, I mean, I do believe him.
You're
you've
holding
been,
the jewels next
you've
to
been
the
acting
open
kinda
vault,
sus.
and you're like, guys, I just walked in here and I wrestled the jewels off the thief, but he got away.
It was that
He got
guy.
away.
That's the king. Yeah, it was him. He was trying to steal him. All right, I mean, I believe him.
I legitimately won a game of Among Us 2 days ago because I somehow managed to convince my loved ones and family members
Yes.
that I had actually just walked into the room, seen a dead body, and was about to hit the report button. I don't know
Oh,
who killed this
who
guy.
could've? Who could have
I
done
was
it?
standing over a body for the night. You're like, I just got here, guys.
Guys, it was like this when I got here. Onog, I think you'll enjoy this next ability. Surprise attack.
Oh, sorry. I didn't expect that.
Surprise! Attack! If you surprise a creature and hit it with an attack on your first turn in combat, the attack deals an extra 2d6 damage. to it.
Nice.
You can use this trait only once per combat, which, per combat, not really a 5th edition
Well,
thing.
it says it's
but-
on your first turn in combat, so...
Well, it's also like if you get like multiple attacks. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is a little superfluous.
But this stacks with regular rogue sneak attack, baby.
Yeah.
so you
It's
can
just
get
basically
a good
two
kill
free
shot.
levels of sneak attack.
And maybe you take, for the flavor purposes, you take a Gloomstalker Ranger so that you're even sneakier and you get that additional surprise attack. Ooh, the possibilities.
Surprise attack, attack, attack.
Attack, surprise. I like to flavor my surprise attacks not as, like, I've snuck up on them and I've snapped their neck without them noticing. I like to imagine their surprise attack is like, I got all their friends together over the weekend, we set up the attack in their apartment, when they got home after work, the door opened and we all went, surprise! And we just, like, killed them. Let's talk about the final ability here, Disruptive Sabotage. You are proficient with Thieves' Tools. In addition, you can use them as an action to magically trigger one of the following sabotage effects within 30 feet of you. There are 3 options. The first, you instantaneously cause unlocked doors and windows to slam shut. They become locked until the end of your next turn, so like 6 seconds. 2, you instantaneously cause flames to extinguish. Or 3, you cause all written text to become unintelligible for 1 minute. This has no effect on spellbooks. I like that. Thank you for the
Okay.
no effect
Yeah.
on spellbooks.
So
I
you
appreciate
can
that.
you can lock the doors, you can kill the lights, or you can scramble
Which
comms.
are all very real things that the imposter can do.
Yeah,
in
in the game. But they are also, and this is kind of what I wanted to highlight, they are also very good little like niche things to do in most D&D
Yeah.
combats. To be like,
Yeah.
you're locked in here with us, lights go out. Or, except for my personal thing, like I
This
have the
is-
dark vision or whatever.
This is actually kind of a neat little like anti-thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like-
I was thinking of the
It's
same
called
thing.
naumaturgy.
Not
Nah,
maturgy.
Nah, maturgy. Oh, my turgy. Yeah, no, I agree. That's why when I was reading it, I was like, this is sort of like a few bits of thaumaturgy stapled together, but also some other bits cut off within like some bits of prestidigitation. There is no limitation to how often you can do it, which I would add maybe, or at least say, no, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't add a limit because none of them
It's
are
just
so.
you use your turn to turn out the lights, and then they
Yeah.
use their turn to turn them on, and then you just keep doing that over and over again.
I mean, it's almost like a Looney Tunes moment where they like go to walk into the next room and they open the door and there's like a big angry bear, so they close the door and the door's locked, and the bear spends the rest of the turn like opening the door and then you just keep closing it. It's very Bugs Bunny.
We found the shorts, which is a great reference. Yeah, that's the Among Us Imposter player race. I thought it was a flavorful, compelling way to bring that experience into Dungeons and Dragons without making it like super broken or
Yeah.
making it not feel like D&D. And honestly, if this was ever so slightly changed, like I'd believe this was a player race if this was just called like Shadowkin or whatever. Like,
Well, this like follows very flavorfully with the original like concept of gremlins in mythology.
ooh, Gremlin
Like
player
this,
race.
this would be a great little gremlin race if
That's
he just
really good.
puts out the lights. He always the doors are always sticking around him.
Scrambles
And
around.
We've analyzed so many different things, especially either from video games or movies or classic stories, that are trying to take one thing that is not D&D
Yeah.
and make it something that is for D&D. And this is one of the more successful
I
ones
agree.
that
Yeah,
I've seen.
yeah.
I agree. That's why I wanted to bring it, because I felt like it succeeded so well in what it was going for. Because, yeah, every once in a while you get a Witcher class or a Daredevil subclass or whatever, and it's
hard
like
to make
a
work.
thing that from a piece of media I like. I'm bringing it in, but they're, varying levels of success. But this, I felt like it's simple. It can slot into any campaign and not feel weirdly broken or something like that.
I feel like you could definitely mishmash a few sort of different existing rogue subclasses into like a subclass version of
Yeah.
something that was based on the imposter in a cool way.
Definitely.
Where just based more loosely on like the idea of the imposter, right? Of infiltrating
Well, yeah.
and sabotaging, I think could be really a
But
fun
picture
space
But
to
this.
play.
that being said, none of these racial abilities none of them don't, double negative. These do have a precedent, because there's even like in Volo's Guide to Monsters, there are monster races that get like an extra 2d6 damage on surprise.
Yeah.
So it's not like unprecedented. So the only thing it's missing is the random ability to shoot out its tongue like a sharp.
Yes,
Like-
to open in half like a hinge and shoot a
You have
projectile
an
tongue.
unarmed strike that is your tummy.
Your tummy tongue. Your tonguey?
I think
Not
an
worth it.
ultimate question here is like, does this work as a player race, or like Mercy said, does it work better as a rogue subclass?
Yeah.
I do like the idea of it potentially being a player race, though, because it could be fun to do something like you're actually a warlock who sneaks around, or you're even a barbarian. Because I like shaking things up, but it might be a little bit more efficient if it was
I think there would just there'd be a
class.
much higher power like ceiling for if it was like a subclass, so you could have a lot more possibilities with it. But I definitely think Mercy was saying like, it's good as a player race, and
Yeah,
there
yeah,
could
yeah.
also be
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
An
I was
idea.
in no way saying that as a critique of this. I think this is great as a race. It just makes me think of it would be really fun. Like I think other spaces you could play with Among Us, bringing it into D&D would be some sort of rogue subclass. But I think if I was going to do that, I feel like for a subclass, you would almost want to focus less on the actual specific abilities, but you're pretty one-to-one to what's in this race, and more on the idea of like infiltrating
Like
and
the
sabotaging.
concepts.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what like a lot of the ribbon abilities of the assassin subclass is for.
It makes me
rogues.
think of assassin, and it makes me think of almost like the charlatan background. Like if you have an assassin with the charlatan
Yeah.
background, it's kind of
Yeah.
Similar.
Build your own. I like the idea of running a all level ones like one shot that essentially is Among Us.
That's funny.
Where it would work really well if you did it digitally, like if you did over Roll20 or something like that, where you could be typing to the DM without anyone else seeing and talking about.
Well, I was gonna say the only way that you get a hiccup in that idea is that if Hey, how come John's rolling with advantage whenever he's telling us who he saw do the murder?
I mean, you could hide the player roles.
Oh, you would almost have
Yeah.
to have everyone have it like a DM screen to do it.
in real life.
everyone
In
would
real
have
life,
to
yeah.
do.
But no, I like the idea of doing it like online or something like that. Or I guess you could find ways to do it in real life. But just the idea like you're all in a wizard's tower and you're working on a project for this wizard. You're all just level 1, so you have like 5 hit points or whatever, 10 hit points. So the imposter could kill you in one hit if they rolled high enough, you know. And it essentially works very similarly to the game where you're like, I have 3 goals I've been assigned by the DM that I want to go achieve in like sequential order. I have to go look out the window and align the star charts with the astral symbols. I have to go do the chalk circles for the demon summoning later. And I have to go sharpen all the broadswords. But one of you is just going through, and it's like, I go in to check on how his broadsword's doing. Yeah, he's super dead. I hit my, like, glowing pendant that we were all given to call the emergency meeting. We're all teleported to a pocket dimension for 5 seconds.
You know what it sort of is the board game Betrayal at the House on the Hill. It's kind of that.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
A little
It has
bit of that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the race. I really liked it. I think it was really fun and really well executed and successful. I've got pretty much no critiques for it.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
complaints.
I have a couple comments. I think one of the reasons that this is so successful as like a other medium to D&D is because so often people are trying to make something where it's like in his or her or their story, they're like the main character and hero of that story, but bringing them into a D&D setting, suddenly you're a team player. And that can change the dynamic greatly. Whereas like in this, you are pulling from a game that is a team game. And so I think that that mentality was already in there. Like
Yeah, and even the
right.
imposters have to work as a team.
Yeah,
well,
and
even with the
imposter
imposters,
isn't-
their power level is balanced
Yeah.
to be
It's
about
not
the
the-
same as everybody else who's
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not much stronger than anyone else. You just have to strategize more. And I think what's cool about this is while you could have everyone playing against each other, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you were going to run a D&D style game of imposters similar to Betrayal, I would get the boards from other board games and use that
Like
as
Clue.
my
Oh,
yeah.
Clue
and then use
board,
that
I
as
love
my
that.
like map. But you could also just have this person be in a regular campaign, like with everyone
Yeah,
else.
that's true.
What's cool is that they haven't actually written this to be like specifically about taking out other players.
No, yeah, you
Right.
could use this against
Could.
monsters.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you could. And I would just like to remind everyone that, like, if you were to play an imposter character, player race, in your regular campaign, you would need to make sure that you had, like, talked to your other players or your DM. And if everyone was cool with you pulling all kinds of hijinks and messing with other players, then that would be fine. But just to remember to keep in mind, like, you're playing as a team, and you can pull off all kinds of imposter vibe stuff towards people that aren't your teammates.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
that being said,
What if your origin story is that you were you landed in this world after being blasted out of the airlock of a spaceship?
of a spaceship?
You just landed and you're like, well, I guess I'm grouping up with the nearest like
Guess I
assortment
live
of people.
here now.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to start working with them on whatever tasks they're doing.
Yeah.
I also like the sort of meta game that like, what is D&D but running around doing tasks? You know what I mean? Like, I gotta go take out this guy's trash, go fix these wires. I gotta go
Yep.
blow up
Yeah.
all the asteroids. Yeah, classic D&D. Well, that's where we'll end the episode. Well, you know, we will of course vote on who we all think the
Yeah.
imposter is before the end of the episode. But if you enjoyed this player race option, comment below. Tell us your thoughts about it. If you have D&D Homebrew you'd like us to review, remember you can send it to us at our email, thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com, or on social media at thecopperfoxinn. Remember to like the video and subscribe for future Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew discussion content. And I think Mercy's the imposter. I'm voting Mercy.
I'm voting Thomas.
I disagree.
Well, I voted for Bean, and it won't let me take it back.
I was gonna say Onog. I'm looking at the settings though. We did set the number of imposters to 4.
Well,
Is that the sounds of us dying? Yes, I am dead as well.
Well, I guess this time
Ah.
everybody died.
Everybody.
Everybody died.
All right, keep on adventuring. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.